Well, hello, my wonderful brothers of the Maverick Nation, and welcome to part freaking 5, I think, of What If Izuku was a descendant of Aizen? What if Izuku Midoriya was a descendant of Sosuke Aizen? Anyways, basically, what I'm going to say here is basically what I'm going to cover is I'm going to cover the whole internship agency thing, and we're basically also going to get down. Basically, I'm thinking all the way up until like around like the training camp. I'm thinking I'm gonna go around like from like the internships agencies thing all the way to the training camp. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna go with this one. Because there's gonna be some flashy shit and it's gonna be cool. Anyways, basically, whenever like they're told about the whole internships and agencies thing, like Izuku really doesn't know which one to pick. Cause they all really sound boring to him. They just sound boring. Like Aizen was never someone for like the pleasantries. Like he was more of a mano-y-mano type man. He was get business done. Get the business done. He can play the long game, but he prefers to get business done. Because if he doesn't get business done, he's going to get bored. And whenever he gets bored, everything dies. That was basically how Aizen did it whenever he was like going up with Gin and Tozen up in like Baragon's face. He basically was like, ain't playing no long game with you, asshole. But now, this is my kingdom now. Basically made him his hollow biatch. He made the king of hollows his biatch. Anyways, there would be a name that he would come across, and he would just hear his father's voice, and he'd be like, what about this Night Eye individual? And Black would just be like, she would just like be like the freaking withdraw from all that, you know, last part. But they did use protection. Anyways, so Izuku does end up going with Night Eye's agency. I don't even know who Night Eye freaking is. I just decided Night Eye. Why not? Anyways, after all of that, basically, like word gets about the hero killer Stain, and even Izuku knows about this because Ida decided to give everyone in Class 1A a big earful about how he was going to avenge his freaking brother Ingenium, who had been attacked by Stain. And it's like just like showing his inner Aizen. Just to show like his inner Aizen, he'd just be like, okay, you do that. You do you, and I'll just stay right here. He's just like, I'll just stay right here. You do you, and I'll just stay right here. Like everyone is like just amazed on how swag he is, but like if they had ever watched Bleach or ever like read the manga, they would know that they shouldn't be surprised about his swagness because Aizen, every time Aizen was on screen, he was swagalicious. I'm just saying, fake Car Crowtown arc, Aizen, swagalicious as all hell. Basically, he'd be all like smilish and he'd be like, okay, you do you, and I'll just be right here. And Night Eye would be like, actually, I think, this could be something interesting for the two of you. And so he's basically like, so you're gonna make me go with Ida to, this random dude? Okay. Well, Dad, you did tell me that this might be interesting, so it's your fault that we're doing this. And Aizen would just be like kicking himself. He'd be like, damn it, I didn't want to have to go with the freaking Four Eyes. And then, like, Black would just remind him, hey, you wore glasses once too. And Aizen would just be like, and I'm about to punch a hollow. I'm about to slap a hollow. And Black would just be like, you know you love me. And Aizen would just be like, I'm not into you. My son is. Anyways, basically, after all that went down, it would just be like Stain would be there. He would basically, had, just done his thing, said his piece, and Ida would come barreling in, like ignoring Night Eye's advice to, like stay back. And he would just go barreling in and get his ass whooped. And, Night Eye would actually be kind of surprised that Izuku didn't really help, but also kind of not surprised considering what he had heard from Aizawa. Or he or she, I don't know Night Eye's gender. What they had heard from Aizawa about Izuku. Like, they would be surprised, but they also wouldn't be surprised because of what Aizawa had told them. And, Izuku would just be like, okay. So what do I do now? And, Sting would just be like, you die, that's what you do. And Izuku's just gonna be like, actually, no. This is the part where you get your ass whooped. And Stan's gonna be like, you got a big mouth on you. And then, Izuku would just be like, he would hold the sword up in the air and he'd be like, Shatter Kyokasu Getsu. And then, the freaking light. And just like with Aizawa, Night Eye would be like, I'm blind. Like, the same thing would happen, like what happened to Aizawa. Basically, he'd be like, I'm blind. And Stain would just be like, the hell? What kind of light show quirk is this? And Izuku was like, well, Kyokasu Getsu doesn't like being referred to as a light show quirk. It's more personal whenever it gets to that. We like to get down to business, don't we, Kyokasu Getsu? And he's just like, why are you talking to your freaking son? Did they send a freaking crackhead after me? Like, Stain's like, did they send a crackhead after me? Like some crackhead kid. And, Izuku was just like, and then he'd just like pop right in front of Stain, and he'd be doing the thing that Aizen did with Ichigo. He'd be like, literally have his palm on his heart. And he'd be like, I forget what he said, but Izuku would just be all chill, and he'd be like, I'm this close to your heart. And Stain would just pull out one of his knives and try to cut, like, into Izuku's arm. But, Izuku would, and, Izuku would just be like, well, was that supposed to hurt me? And Night Eye would be like, what the fuck? He would, like, have no idea what's going on. And then, he just freaking swerves Stain and just like smacks him silly, like slaps him silly. And he would just be like, "So you want to give up now, hero killer?" And then he would just be like, "Because if you don't want to, I can always make things more interesting." And Stain would be like, "And how would that be?" And he would just raise his sword up again, but instead of the whole shatter thing, like I'm gonna say that Izuku would have his own Bankai that wouldn't have to do with the illusions, or it could have to do with the illusions if he wanted it to do. But the Bankai that Izuku has is going to revolve around memories, like Aizen, or people that know Aizen. Like it's gonna revolve around making the memories into reality. Basically, if something is a memory and he finds it, he can make that memory a reality. Have that ability. And so he's just make memory a reality. And he's just hmm. Shatter Shower, Kyokasugetsu. Yeah, Shatter Shower would be the thing for the Bankai. Well, Izuku's version of it, Shatter Shower. He just hold it up in the air, and then he would point it downwards, and he'd be like, "Shatter Shower, Kyokasugetsu." And like Stain had heard some things about Kyokasugetsu, but he'd never heard of anything to do with the Bankai. He didn't know anything about the Bankai of Kyokasugetsu. And Izuku would just state, "Yeah, my dad never used the Bankai. So technically, this is all free fall. This is all me, my version of the Bankai." And whenever he says my version of the Bankai, and Stain is like, "So what does it do?" He's scared, actually, kind of scared. And he's like, "I can sense that you're scared, Stain. Good, because you should be." He's like, "How number 4, Byakurai." Then just shoots into Stain's shoulder. And he's like, "Ow, what the hell?" And then he'd just be like, "Yes, turn memory into reality. One of my father's soldiers, Zomari, the one that he fought, the one that killed him, Byakuya Kuchiki, captain of Squad 6. The name of his Bankai? Senbon Zakura Kagayoshi." And whenever he says Senbon Zakura Kagayoshi, it actually happens. Senbon Zakura Kagayoshi actually appears out of nowhere. He's just like, "Senbon Zakura Kagayoshi." It's like, boom! Like, all a bunch of freaking pink swords everywhere. And, Stan is like, "Holy shit, you can, freaking replicate Bankais? Damn! Like, please don't kill me." And, he just does a thing that Byakuya did, whenever he was about to, kill Ichigo, before, Ichigo went hollow mode on him. And he, grabs one of his swords. But the thing that he does is, he kind of, grabs it with both hands. And, he pulls a freaking Kenpachi on this guy. Because he grabs it with both hands, and he's like, "Two hands. Ogi." And then he's just like, shing! It's like, and the freaking slash is just so freaking strong, so much freaking spiritual pressure, it collides, and as soon as it collides, it's like, boom! And, Stain, well, at least what was left of Stain would be what was left for, like, the police to collect. And basically, he'd be like, take me away from this freaking insane psychopath. He has the ability to replicate Bankais, and he was even able to use the two hands Ogi thing. Yeah, can Pachis hold two hands? Ogi? Yeah, he was able to do that with one of Byakuya's Sinbon Zakura swords. Like Sinbon Zakura Kageyoshi. Like, he was able to do that with one of the Sinbon Zakura Kageyoshi swords. And just, like, be like, two hands! Ogi! And just stain shit up. And after like they successfully like took Stain away, and like Ida's like getting kind of pissy because he was the one who wanted to like get rid of Stain, but he's also kind of thankful that the whole thing with wait a second, well, what's the difference? And Izuku would be like, wait, what do you mean? What's the difference? You said something about a Bankai? And Izuku's like, oh yeah, Shikai and Bankai. Shikai is the first level of evolution with a Zanpakuto after it's released, and the second level is Bankai. And don't even get me started with the Transcendence. Yeah, that stuff is crazy shit. He'd be like, oh, chill. And basically, Izuku would be like, yeah, he'd just be like, yeah, I guess my Bankai's pretty cool. And like, Ida would be like, pretty cool, dude. You can replicate things that you know about, like memories of not just yourself, but even your father and like people like relative to your father. Like, and Izuku would just be like, relative to him? You're funny, Ida. You're funny. Because he thought Zomari Ruru was equal, like, relative to Aizen. Like, he's just like, you're funny, or you're funny, Ida. You're funny. Funny guy. And, just, a little thing. It is kind of on the news that, not long after he was detained, he escaped. Stain, he managed to escape. And, not everybody's too happy about that. But Izuku could care less. I mean, he could just Bankai him again. But the thing about that is, you got the training camp, and as to whether I'm going to have the villains capture Bakugo, uh, that'd be a nope, because Bakugo is not an idiot, and he wouldn't be so quick to rush in because he would be more like, wanting to know like the extent of what Ida's saying all this stuff about. Like, okay, first he has illusion powers, and now you're telling me he can copy these things called Bankai? Ida, whatever you're saying, it better not be a lie. Like, he'd just be like, Ida, whatever you're saying, it better not be a lie. And so basically, he would be with everyone else and wouldn't be so easily deterred, so he wouldn't get captured. And what that exactly spells for everyone, like all of League of Villains. Basically, Shigaraki is just like, Even failed in capturing that kid. And All For One would hear this because they'd be like on like freaking cell phone like shit, and he'd just be like, "You failed to capture him," and Shigaraki would be like, "Most apologies, Lord All For One," and All For One would be like, "No apologies needed." Like All For One would just be like, "No apologies needed," and Shigaraki would just be like, "Why is that?" And All For One would just be like, "I'm not too far away from where you are now. I'm going to get a taste of what this Izuku has to offer. Should he be the one who is responsible for why you weren't able to capture Bakugo, I consider the fact that he might have been interested, and so he wouldn't be so easily deterred from wandering off from the group." And Shigaraki's like, "So you think this whole Bankai thing is the reason why we weren't able to capture him?" And Shigaraki's like, "Think? No, Shigaraki. I know it is. He has this Bankai now. Interesting. Aizen never revealed what his did. He never even used it. What a fool. What an absolute fool. Aizen. A false god. Now, let's see how he does against myself." And like with All For One genuinely like acknowledging Izuku as his father, like freaking Shigaraki's just like, "Oh shit, he's about to get freaking serious. Like we're about to see Lord All For One at his most serious mode." And All For One does show up right in front of Izuku. He's just like, "Oh yes, you're Izuku Midoriya Aizen." And Izuku would be like, "How do you know about my real last name? Wherever you are, how do you... Wait, no, you're All For One." And All For One would just be like, "Huh, so you know." Uh, uh, just in a few seconds, Dad, a few seconds. Anyways, it's just like, "So, I guess we get this started." And All For One is just like, "You first." And Izuku just has this smile on his face, and he's like, "You're going to wish you hadn't said that. I haven't just been sitting on my hands while you have been plotting your little schemes." And Shigaraki's like, "The hell do you mean? We already know about your Bankai. What else could you possibly have?" And he's just like, "Shut up, you little piece of shit." Like, Izuku would just be like, "Shut up, you little piece of shit." And he should be like, "You don't concern me." However, All For One here, let's see how gravity does you. And no, that's not a reference to Ochako's quirk. It's a reference to this. And then he just holds his hand out, and then his other hand out, and just like, Haro number 90, Kurohitsugi! And All For One would be like, wait, what? What did you just say? And he'd be like, Kurohitsugi. And that would crush All For One to pieces. Yeah. No coming back. No freaking green mushrooms. No freaking like coming back from that. You get crushed. You're not freaking Ascent Mode Ichigo. You get like All For One's getting crushed by Izuku. Like they had no idea. League of Villains, like Izuku's classmates, freaking even All Might's just like, wait, what the hell? When did he train for this? Like he went all the way to freaking 90. He just like he didn't really, he really felt himself that he couldn't really be bothered with actually fighting the dude. He'd just be like, yeah, you're a thought compared to me. However, 90 Korihitsugi. So yeah, that would basically be the end of that. I already said I was ending this part at the training camp. So I believe this is part 5. And part 5 ends with the Dark Shadow Maverick is out, Alon Z, and Adausis.